This is a tutorial on animal making for my third graders at CPS. All you need is some clay. I did this in the Zoom class with the brown clay, but I said you could use the gray clay if you have some left over, or you could even mix together using the brown and the gray clay because they fire at the same temperature, so you can actually use them together in the same piece. You also need your toothpicks or a fork or something so you can scratch to attach, and you need a cup of water, and of course I'm working on the canvas here. This is just a project idea, so I'm going to show you the basics of it, and then you can get creative and make whatever you want with it. I should also say at the beginning of this video, some of you, your clay was really hard in class, and I told you what you should do if your clay is too hard is put it back in the plastic bag and add some water, like half a cup maybe of water with the brown clay, and then seal up the bag and leave it for a whole day. Like check on it the next day, poke at it. What'll happen is the clay will start to soak up the water and it'll spread it out more evenly throughout the block of clay, and then that should soften it. All right, you don't want to add like a whole cup of water because then it might just turn into like watery mud, but add like half a cup of water in the bag and seal it up for at least a day. You have to wait like a day because you have to give it time for the clay to soak up all the water. Okay, so I just broke off a piece of clay here. We're going to do this in a really basic way. You want to break off a piece of clay, make a ball, and then make a pinch pot. So pinch pot means stick your thumb into the ball of clay and then start pinching as you go around. You will probably get some cracks. See some cracks that I'm getting there? Cracks are no big deal. Put your finger in the water and add some water to those cracks. Anytime the clay feels like it's drying out and it's getting cracked or too hard, you can add a little bit of water. And it looks shiny now, but the clay will soak up that water and it won't be shiny and wet anymore. Okay, so I just made like a little pinch pot. And this is going to be the basis for our animal. It's going to be like its middle part of its body. So let's say you're making a turtle, right? This could be its shell. And now you're going to add a head underneath there and 4 little legs and a tail in the back. That could be a turtle. Or maybe this could be a cat. So then maybe I'll make it like it's longer, like this. And then you can add a head and a tail and 4 legs. And you could have it sitting down or you could have it standing up, right? Or you could make it into a spider, right? Somebody in class said they wanted to make a spider. So you just turn it this way, and a spider has 8 legs. So you could just make 8 legs and then just attach them. So this is just your basic part, to your basic component to make any of those kinds of animals, right? So I'm going to make the cat because that's probably the hardest one to make. The spider or the turtle, you just make the different parts of it and scratch to attach them. But I'll make the cat because that's probably the hardest. So I'm going to make this longer, like this. Okay, and then I'm going to put that down. And in class, I said if you're making an animal, you might, to make sure you have enough clay, you might have all the pieces ready. So my cat's going to have a head, a tail, and 4 legs. Okay, so 4 legs, a head, and a tail. I want to make sure that all my legs are the same size so he doesn't look kind of like deformed. So let me see if these balls of clay are about the same size. All right, this one looks a little small, so I might add a little clay to that one. And when you add clay to itself, you might add a little water too. And then roll it into a ball and smooth it all together. Okay, so that'll be my 4 legs. And this is going to be my head. I'm rolling them into balls because that's going to make it easier to sculpt them. And this is going to be the tail. So I'm going to make the head first, like I did in class. I made it into a ball, and now I'm going to pinch out like a little neck. So I'm just grabbing the clay and I'm just sculpting it, right? I'm just sort of moving it around and pinching it. And I just made like a neck. And then to make the ears for my cat, I'm just going to pinch the clay and start to make like an ear. See, I'm just kind of pinching it and sculpting it. It's just like playing with like Play-Doh or something, right? It's just, you know, you just take your hands. It's like drawing in 3D. You know, like when you take your crayons and you just draw. This is like doing that, but like in 3D. Okay? So I just made 2 little cat ears. They're kind of pointy. And I can give him a cute little face. Let me smooth out his cracks first. And this, then I can give him a little face. I'm going to give him a simple little face. Maybe I'll make his eyes closed. So there's 2 little lines for his eyes. And then I'll draw a little nose here. And a little mouth. Okay? So you draw yours however you want. You know, you draw your face however you want. I'm keeping this really simple for this little tutorial. And remember, I gave him a neck. And that's so I can attach his head to his body. Now, I don't want to just stick it on like that. I want to have a nice flat spot here and here. So I'm going to just tap the bottom of the neck. Now I have a nice flat spot. And I am going to scratch up the flat spot because that's where it's going to attach to the body. Okay. And now I'm going to scratch up where the head is going to be attached to the body. Right there is where I've decided I'm going to put it. And I'm going to add water to my scratches. Okay. So now I have wet scratches here on the head and here on the body. And I'm going to put it together. And then I'm going to kind of smooth it on with my fingers. See how I'm kind of moving the clay around and I'm smoothing it on. And that way it's not going to break off. I'm going to go all the way around and smooth it on. So clay is kind of nice because it's, you know, it's mushy and you can just kind of move it around. And if it's too hard, you can just add water to it and get it more mushy again. All right, so now I've got, this is like what I had in class, right? I have like the little body and then the head. And you could make it a laying down cat, right? Like you could just make little legs and have it so he's like laying down, or you can make him standing up. And I'm going to show you the standing up like I did in class because that's the harder one to do. The first thing you want to do is you want to roll out all the legs and make sure they're all the same length, because, you know, if one of them is like way longer or shorter, that's going to mess up the balance. Okay, so there's my 4 legs. They're all about the same length. And now I'm going to make a flat spot on each of them where they're going to attach to the body. So there's a flat spot there. There's a flat spot there. Flat spot there. And a flat spot there. So now I know where they're going to attach. And then just like on the head, I got to put the scratches on where they're going to attach. And that's the flat spot. So there's my scratches for that. There's my scratches on this flat spot. There's my scratches on this flat spot. And then here's the 4th one. So these are the legs. They're going to go on the body. Now those legs are going to go on the body like here. So now I have to scratch on the body where they're going to attach. Now I did say, like, if your rim is really skinny, like when you made your pinch pot, if this is really skinny, you could attach the legs on the outside, you know, or on the inside if this part's too skinny. My part's not too skinny, so I'm going to actually put them right on this rim. And so there's the scratches for my 2 front legs, and there's the scratches for my 2 back legs. See? And now I'm going to add water to all my scratches. So you always got to add water because that's what makes it like glue, right? And now I'm going to put these legs on. So I'm just dipping the scratches in the water and sticking a leg on. And now I'm going to smoosh it on. So I want it to be really well attached. So I push it on and I kind of smoosh it a little bit. Now I'm going to do the next leg. Dipping the scratches in the water, putting the scratches together, and mushing it on with my fingers to make sure that it all stays together. See, I've got 2 legs on there. Now I'm going to do the 3rd leg, dipping it in the water so the scratches are wet, and mushing it on to the body so it stays. And now I'm going to do the last leg. A little water on the scratches, put the scratches together, and mush it on. Now I have 4 legs. Now you see they're kind of like moving around a little bit, but that's a good thing because I can spread them out a little so that I can get my animal to stand. So See, I can kind of spread his legs out so he stands nicely. So here's how he looks from the side. And I can also play around with this, like in class, at the end of class, I said you can make like little paws. So like, it's hard to do this from this angle, but see how I just bent the bottoms of the feet to make them like little paws. So you can play around with it until you get it how you like it. And remember I had that tail, so now I'm going to make him a little tail. And everything is made the same way, so I just make the tail how I want it to be, however long I want it to be. I can try to make it go up or down or along the side of the body. Maybe I'll do it like here. Maybe I'll do it like that. And then I'm going to just scratch to attach it on, just like I did with the head and the legs. So I do some scratches there. I do some scratches on his butt here, where the tail's going to go on. Add a little water to my scratches. And then I put that tail on by just smoothing and pressing it on. So now he's got a tail. So there I have a four-legged cat with a tail. Now, if you choose to have him, you can have him sitting down, like you can pose him. So maybe I'll make him like sitting down like this, see? Now he's kind of sitting. Or you can have him lay down. You could spread his legs out. So you decide how you want your animal to be posed. Actually, I can do him like this. So you just kind of play around with it and get it to be how you want it to be, see? And so see how that's starting to break off? I can just, it's clay. I can just mush it back together. And you just play around with it until you get it how you want it to look for your animal. And then whenever you get it to the point where you like it and you think it's finished, you just let that dry overnight. And then you wrap it up in something soft and you put it back in your white box. And when it gets back to the school, I will fire it for you. And then when you get it back, we will color them with some glaze. Okay? So just have some fun. Use up the rest of your clay. Make whatever you want. As long as it's not too thick, as long as it's not much thicker than a pencil, I will fire it for you and I will get it back to you. Okay? Good luck, everybody.